Hello everyone, today I am going to discuss with you how I used to fill my sporting information when I was applying for my first job in the NHS, and we can use the same thing while we are applying any job in the NHS, whether it's first, second, third. And not only the NHS, you can use this strategy while applying the Scotland or NES or via Trac website, because the application, the 2000 application which I filled for my first job, have given me a lot of experience. You can how easily you can write your application and sporting information especially. So there are two most important things we should be focused on during the writing the sporting information, and that includes the person specifications and job description. Job description tells us what they are demanding from you in the future if you get the job, and either you are able to perform that things or not, you have the ability or not. And second thing, the person specification which they demand from you, you have already got in your past. So these two things, you should be vigilant about these two things and should read before filling the spot information. And I will show you some examples today, and also will show you my applications which I filled, some of the examples of the application regarding the normal standard application of the NHS which I filled via Trac website. So now I will show you the real example of application, job description, person specification, and my own application which I filled, and how you can fill the application. You can see it's a Coventry Warwickshire Hospital job description, and they are demanding the clinical fellow in the emergency medicine, and they have given the small introduction of the job which they require. It is basically a job description. In some application they have given the heading of job description, in some they just indirectly tell you that what they are demanding and where you will work. Second thing, we will see in PDF document which was given along with the application, this person specifications. So in this person specification they have only these three headings, right? The qualification, training, experience, and skills and abilities. So when we start filling the application, I have opened application of the same trust, and we open the supporting information. You see, first of all, they demand the practical experience, the skills, and they demand only the 8, maximum 8. Minimum is only 1 year, 2 is depend upon your abilities and experience, and you can add up only 1 to 8 procedure which you have done, which you routinely do in the daily life or your experience. And after that you describe the skills you mentioned above in detail here. So what you have learned, you just reflect your things which you have learned from the procedure skills you have done, and if you have done any other procedure which was not able to add in that segment, you can add here. I will show you how you can do this. And in this paragraph you can add your future plans, right? So let me show you my application, how I fill these three segments: the clinical skills and procedures. Yeah, this one. Taking some time to open, sorry for that. So it's open. So this was the way I used to fill my the practical experience. Like you can put 1 to 2 just number here under the supervision. After that you can put according to your experience, like how many procedures you can perform in the 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. The experience you have, according you can fill this average number here. It should not be the exact number. And the other paragraph which are given below these skills and procedures, you can see here, this one. So I used to feel like this, the below 2 paragraphs below the practical skills and abilities. So in this paragraph I just put my the skills which I have mentioned above. I didn't mention again that skills because You don't need to repeat anything in this application support information. Once you have mentioned in a specific paragraph, you don't need to repeat that things. Here I mentioned other things which I was not able to mention above, like in incision drainage I used to do needle decompression, reducing fractures, interpret ECG, X-ray, because I haven't mentioned these skills in the other paragraph. Here you can say here it's only 8 limits, so I was not able to mention those things which I mentioned here. ECG, X-ray and basic blood post reading. You can write it on words and use your own skill to write this segment. And in this below paragraph you can write your future plan, what you have learned till now and what you have the plans for the future from the NHS and after this job, getting this job, right? And then we move downward in the application. You see the teaching segment, and one thing keep in your mind, try to fill every box of the application. If you haven't done anything, just try to put some reflection over that segment that you haven't done but you have a good knowledge, you are planning to do this in the future, or mention any positive thing in there in that segment, but try to fill each and every segment that will leave a good effect over the person who is reading your application. So after clicking yes, you can also fill this according to your teaching experience. And if I show you my teaching experience, like how I showed my experience in the application, why I filled this application, you can see here. Yeah, yeah. So this was the way I used to fill my application of teaching segment, sport information, and also I have done the BSc. So I saw in one job this as personal specification, I saw that they are demanding the BSc as a teaching experience skill. So I mentioned in every application my BSc which I have done from Pakistan in this application, and every application teaching experience, relevant experience. So you can also put like this. And we will scroll down and you will see the management of changes, like if you have done anything in your hospital in your working area, like you have any like audit you have done which made some changes in the practice in the hospital, you can mention here. Like if you can put some example of attendance, like I put my example of attendance, like while I went to hospital they were registered for the application, but I introduced them the biometric attendance in some people were not using that, so I also implement that changes that everyone should use this thing and encourage them to use. So this kind of example you can put here, right? And next you can write down your search if you have done any, if you have any plan in the future, the publication, your presentations, you should have at least 2 to 3 examples ready for the presentation at your local level, in your hospital, in your clinic, in your house job, anyone you can put example here. The price distribution, any position, any distinction, anything else, any certificate, if you have very good certificate you can mention here also. And if we talk about the management and leadership skills and team working, I will show you my way of writing these things, and you can get an idea how you can write these things according to your experience and technique. Yeah, the management and leadership experience, you can put just 1 paragraph or 2 paragraph, and in every segment, whether it's a management or leadership skill, that's a team working, you can put like this. You can read this and put your examples accordingly. One thing keep in your mind that the example which I have put there, the data which I put there is just made data, is not real data. So there's nothing to worry about this, that if you copy this, so you should use your own experience while writing the application. And if you scroll down this, so this big paragraphs come here, you should write the person specification things, right? And if he has asked anything in the person specification which you have already filled above in the details, like teaching, like management, like teamwork, you don't need to put again here, right? It will lengthen your application, it will become boring, and it will also be a repetitive process. So it is good practice that you don't repeat the things which we have already mentioned above. All right, and if you see the application person specification for this job, let me show you here. So these three things he has asked in the job person specifications. So if I show you my way of writing these things, the qualification, training, the experience and skills and abilities, as short as possible, as brief as possible, you will see that how I used to fill these things, and you should also be vigilant about this. You can see the qualification training, I just put 1 to 2 3 lines, and this is all about. And also along with that, I put, for mention the job, junior clinical fellow, emergency medicine, the hospital name. So it just made a good impact over the reader that you have read all the things in the person specification, the job description before applying this job. And about the experience, they have asked the subheadings also, 1 2 3. If you see the job person again, they have the headings, and this one heading, two heading things. So I used to describe these headings separately. If you see that your application coming length, and you can prescribe all the describe all these things in a single heading, like MBBS, GMC registration, ALS. You can describe all these three things in just 1 to 2 lines if you have done or not, right? And you can also mention relevant things. If he's asking about the qualification and you have done the postgraduate any exam like FCPS, MS, if you are from Pakistan, any other postgraduate exam, you can also mention here. If you have done other association courses like BLS, PALS, or other courses, you can mention here also, right? Only the relevant ones. And if you see the third heading, the skills and ability, they have asked, he have asked the two things only, the communication skills and ability to flexibility ability according to rota, because you are applying in the emergency medicine in this job. And in emergency medicine you have to work in unusual hours, in the nights, in the weekends. So they are asking about that ability also. And how can you write those things? Yes, here I have written that criteria which they have asked. About the communication, I write down the one paragraph, and about the teamwork and flexibility, I have done write down the paragraph like I always ready for the on call at night, and I have devoted myself to best patient care possible, like this. You can mention in your own words. So this is the way I used to write my application. And in some person specifications, they have also asked about the trust values. You don't need to put any every application's trust values in every supporting information, just because you just need to keep your application as brief as possible. But if they have asked you about the trust values, you can read the trust values. There are mostly 3 to 4 to 5 trust values. Just name them like this, the last paragraph you can see. Just name them in the first line, that you are well aware of these values and you care about these things, and pick one of these values. Like they have mentioned exceptional care, listening to feedback, working collaboratively. And after mentioning this in one line, just pick one of these values and put an example in the next 1 to 2 lines, that how you apply this value in your daily routine life, right? So in this way you can also write the trust value in the support information if they have asked. If they haven't asked, you don't need to write other thing, that you are fulfilling all the criteria, you will be doing a very good job, etc. So it will just lengthen the job and will not help you getting the job. And this was the one type of application which we used to see on the Trac website. I have also open as other person specification. In that person specification, in that application, only the one paragraph for sport information was there. There were not separate paragraphs for the teaching, for the teamwork, for the audits. So they have asked everything in the person specification. All these 10 to 12 headings were given. So I also filled this application. You can see here almost 10 to 12 headings. In the previous application there were only 3 headings, a very short application. But in this application they have asked about the 10 to 12 headings. So you can also fill these headings. You can see they have other person skills, and in the person skills they have other 6 to 7 to 8 subheadings. So how you can write this type of application very briefly? You just need to cover up all these things in 1 to 2 paragraphs. You don't need to mention all these things separately, right? Let me show you my application, how I fill this application in my routine. And if we start from here, qualification, experience, eligibility, fitness to practice, let me open my application, and this is the application here. So here you can see I have put these three examples: qualification, experience, eligibility, fitness to practice, as short as possible. Then move to the next heading, the language skills in the 3 lines, health in the 2 lines, applications completion just mentioned. Yes, you have completed all the sections. Clinical skill they have asked in the 3 to 4 heading, just as brief as possible. Move towards the next thing in the clinical governance. In the personal specification, they have asked the 3 things: the audit, the research, and clinical governance. So I mentioned clinical governance here, the audit here, the research here. So in this way, I just try to summarize the thing in 1 to 2 lines, the 2 to 3 lines maximum. So if you keep your application brief and to the point, it will help the reader to get the things more easily. Otherwise, the long paragraphs, they don't need to read all the things. So this is the 4 pictures of my this person specification, in which they have given almost 10 to 12 headings. One, this one, this one, and this one. These are the 12 headings which they have asked in this person specifications. Right, you can see, read these things and write these things according to yourself. Right, so if you have still any question in your mind, you can ask. And that's the last message for writing the sport information. As I mentioned earlier, just keep this to the point, keep it as brief as possible, and you will get a job very soon. Thank you.